Y'all ready for this? Such a fucking kicking tune. Sorry. It was in the van before I came in here and started making the recording, and it has me all fucking hyped the fuck up and giddy. But in a good way. I hope you'll agree. And I'm in good form, because if nothing else, this is 20 of 40. I know this is probably the 38th day of the 40, but fuck it, I'm halfway through. How are you getting on? How are the push-ups and everything else going? Have you just completely lost faith in the whole process altogether? Or is there one or two or all of you that are still doing a little bit of something? And get in touch if... Yeah, get in touch if you fucking are still doing something, or if it's made some sort of, any kind of fucking improvement. And look, and I was only thinking about this yesterday when I said that no women had contacted me to say that they were listening in the first place, never mind got any benefit from it. And I was just thinking about this yesterday evening and this morning, that an off-putting thing might be the worry that I might mention your mail in passing, or, you know, by name or whatever else. And look, if you don't want your name to be mentioned, or if you don't want me to mention what you fucking wrote, just include it in your mail. I'm not going to fucking go against anyone's wishes. So if you just want to send me a little note to say, look, enjoying it, keep it up, fair fucking play to you, that shit helps. It really fucking does. And I don't think there's nearly enough of that. And fuck it, actually, now that I think of it, that's something that I don't do. I've been a big fan of Mr. Boat Club for quite a while, and I've been listening to Blind Boy Boat Club, or the Blind Boy podcast, which I'm going to highly recommend again for the, you know, umpteenth time. And one thing that he asks people to do is to write reviews, because apparently that helps from like a sponsorship point of view. The more reviews and stars and whatever else that his episodes get, the better it is at attracting sponsors and all that jazz. Now, he's going down that getting sponsors route. I'm not. I want to stay 100 million miles away from anybody or anything that might ever influence what I say on a, you know, episode by episode, minute by minute, second by second basis. Because one thing that I think people are enjoying about the solo episodes in particular, and I suppose to a certain degree the conversations, is how kind of off the fucking wall it is, especially these, because like nobody knows where these are going. Nobody knows, including yours fucking truly. Nobody knows where these conversations are going. And anybody that tries to tell you any fucking different, don't listen to them, because believe you me, there's no element of what I'm saying or anything that I have ever said that has been remotely scripted. Now, I am going to break that trend slightly. Hold on now a second, I charge my phone because my battery's going to die. No, here we go. I have in front of me a kind of a notebook thing that I've started to write notes in. And, fuck, as you can probably guess with the sounds I'm making here in the background, I said I'd look at this, but never really planned to look at it. So, what the fuck? Yeah, apologies. Oh, yeah, stand up. There's a couple of notes that I've made here, all sorts of different notes, on God knows what. And what I'm going to do, I think, in future, to just make sure that I don't get too rambly, and even if I do, it's in relation to something. So at the top of the page, it just as a coincidence, it has encourage each other. Encourage each other. There we go. I'm a big fan of Blind Boy. I promote his podcast all the time on my own platform. I was going to say I subscribe to him on YouTube, but he's not on YouTube, so I don't subscribe to him. I am, though, so subscribe to me. If you're unsure of what that even means, go into YouTube, search Off the Lead, find my little logo thing, find all my videos, and the word subscribe will be there. And when you tap it or click it or whatever you're doing with it, that word will turn to red, and that means that you'll have subscribed. And knowing how many people are subscribing to what I do gives me an idea of how well it's progressing. I also fund Mr. Boat Club through Patreon. I still haven't set up my own Patreon account, but hopefully fuck it, I'm going to write it on my hand. Patreon, Patreon, right, cool. I'm going to set up my own Patreon account, so it'll more than likely be, you know, www.patreon.offthelead or forward slash off the lead or something to that effect. But I'll send up a link. There'll be an accompanying Patreon link to everything that I put up in future. Give me a fucking euro a month, you tight fuck. And if I can get enough people, doing this, God knows what I could achieve, because I have some dizzyingly high aspirations for this platform and for other platforms and for myself and for other people and all sorts of everything. So encourage each other. It was literally the first thing written on top of the page. A little bit out of context, but look, such is life. But I must actually go and write Blind Buy Now review. Now, I have subscribed to him on iTunes. At least I think I have. Fuck, I don't think I have. So I'm on iTunes as well, if you haven't noticed. So if you've got one of those iPhone thingamajiggers, go on to iTunes and subscribe. Write a fucking review, write a comment or two, engage, and maybe do a little bit more of that generally. Not just with me, or maybe don't bother with me. But if there's somebody that you like, whether they're on fucking YouTube or on Facebook or fucking wherever, give them a fucking like or a comment or a private message or fucking something. Don't be such a selfish fuck with things that you appreciate. And that goes for your mates too. You don't have to go and fucking like their Facebook page or send them a direct message. Maybe send them a fucking message on WhatsApp or Viber or email or whatever. And just give them a bit of a fucking lift. Just say, hey man, I was actually listening to this fucking crazy cunt on a podcast and he said something about reaching out to people. And you know something? You actually gave me a bit of a dig out there not so long ago and you probably didn't realise you did. But you did, and I'm grateful, so fucking thanks. And I think if more of us did really small incremental steps, really small little things like that, we just fucking move the whole society thing along a little bit quicker than it's been moving. And possibly in a better direction than it's going. Second thing on my list here is, not that it's a list, it's just mind fart on a page basically, but stand up. I gave poetry and speech writing a lash there a fortnight ago. Stand up is something that I like the idea of doing. So what I might do is just pick a fucking funny story and polish it a little and release it as like a 20-minute podcast, a standalone stand-up episode, something that, might evoke the odd fucking giggle from one or two of you. But what I've learned from doing the poetry and the speech and that is, just fucking do it. Just get the fuck over yourself. No one really cares. It's not going to make any negative difference. It might make a positive difference in someone's life. It might give them the fucking gumption to do whatever it is that they've been threatening to do for God knows fucking how long and just never had the courage to do it because of, what other people might think. And look, I've said this before, begrudgery is self-imposed. That's something that I'm really starting to realise. Like, I would have written a speech to music fucking years ago if it wasn't for begrudgery. But who's begrudging me? Nobody. And if they are, fuck them. Like, I don't give a fuck, and I don't care. I couldn't care less what a begrudger would think, because I've no time for begrudgery. So why would being begrudged by someone you've no time for negatively impact you or affect you in any way, shape or form? It's like, Hitler comes back from the dead and he thinks you're an asshole. You're not really going to give a fuck, are you? He was one of the most evil men to ever fucking scourge the planet. You're not going to care what he thinks of you. He was a dick, so fuck him. And why would you think any different from some fucking begrudging cunt? Anybody that doesn't encourage you to try new things and, be a little bit different and get yourself off the lead even a small bit. You don't have to fucking quit your job and live in a tent. Do you know that kind of way? And again, the incremental steps, little differences go a long, long fucking way, and they have that kind of compound interest effect, that positive feedback loop thing. And case in point, I wrote a bit of a fucking poem, a bit of a speech, and now I'm talking about doing a bit of stand-up. Okay? I haven't gone and done it. I haven't said, see me at fucking the Central on the 25th of some month where I'll be supporting some other cunt. No, I've told you about liking the idea of doing it, and I think I might have went one step further and said, fuck it, I probably will do it. But again, I haven't committed to fuck all. I haven't told you that, by this day next week I'm going to have a half-hour fucking comedy special thing, podcast, yoke, up. But fuck it, it's something that I'm thinking about. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. It's something that I like the idea of, and I'm going to throw my fucking hat at it. And if anyone wants to sneer at me, well, fuck you. And if you're surrounded by people who will belittle you for trying something new and stepping outside your comfort zone, or, pushing the boat out a little, or, maybe improving your own fucking life in some sense. Like, if somebody has a negative thing to say about that, fuck fuck those people. Fuck them. And if that leaves you alone in the world, better to be alone with a positive attitude than be surrounded by cunts who aren't your friends. Because anybody who calls himself your friend and isn't encouraging you to do whatever it is that you want to do, you need to look up the fucking meaning of the word friendship and the word friend. And your friends aren't there to just promote you either and tell you you're fucking brilliant. A real friend should tell you when something sucks. But they should do that in as encouraging a way as possible. And that can be a dodgy line to follow. But think of yourself as the friend for a minute and not the person that's doing something. If you're the friend, so someone comes to you and basically says, listen, what do you think of this? Here's a rule of thumb for you. For every one negative thing you say 3 positive things. And if you don't have 3 positive things to say, then just say 2 or just say 1. And if you can't muster 1 positive thing, then maybe fucking take a long hard look at yourself and ask yourself why you're such a horrible wanker. Anyway, encourage each other. So write us a review, fucking like it, share it, comment it, tell your fucking mate about it. Tell me what you think about it personally. imoffthelead@gmail.com. Send me a fucking email. I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to fucking reach out to a couple of cunts today, I think. And maybe they'll be blind strangers. Maybe I'll send a message to fucking Henry Rollins. Look up his fucking email address or website or comment section or Facebook page or something. And maybe I'll send him a message. Maybe he'll never read it. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the utility is in having sent it, not getting a reply or making any of a difference. Henry Rollins is a fucking cool dude, actually. Weird. Super intense character. Like, fucking super intense. And a real dark, angry, fucking full of demons guy. I highly recommend his conversation with Joe Rogan, actually. Henry Rollins, Joe Rogan. Throw that into Google and dig up his conversation with him, because it's a great window into his world. And an obsessive doer. The man can't sit still for 10 seconds without going completely crazy. But he does a lot of spoken word, which I'm still not overly familiar with what that is. But what got me onto fucking Henry Rollins? God knows. Back to the list. Oh yeah, do an hour explaining off the lead. That's something that I must actually do. Maybe not an hour, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 5. But to have something almost pinned at the top of the podcast series, so if somebody new comes along, like, Jesus, if anybody's new listening to this, if this is your first one, hello and welcome. They don't all tend to be at the fucking massive bang tempo that this one seems to have been. I actually had to kind of sit down, which is a good thing, because my phone is charging, and if I wasn't fucking sitting down, I'd be fucking running all over the place, fucking talking even faster than I am now. But anyway, yeah, the idea of maybe encapsulating what it is that I'm doing in a 5-minute or 20-minute or hour-long piece, maybe, and that will be written down. Now, I wouldn't recite it, but I think I need to formulate what this is for myself, because if I don't know what it is, how am I going to navigate it into what I want it to become? But then again, is that even the right approach? Maybe I should just fucking plow on the way I've been plowing on and see where it takes me. Who knows? But I've just reminded myself, there's this idea that I have that you have to figure out what you are before you can even, or should even, try and figure out who you are. We all do this thing. We all have this idea. We're all trying to, fucking find ourselves and figure ourselves out. What do I identify as, and who am I? And like, we all have these kind of moments. Maybe we don't, but I'm guessing a lot of us do, if not all of us. And we confuse it with, finding meaning in our life and finding purpose in our life. But I personally am beginning to think that it all boils down to having a well-defined sense of identity. And one of my strongest personality traits is a trait called openness. And that's a very useful trait to have. And it means that I'm interested in a lot of things, which is great. And it's fundamentally, I think, why I'm a wide achiever as opposed to a high achiever. I've done loads and loads of stuff, but I've never really excelled at any one of them. And not that that's a bad thing, but look, there's pros and cons to it. But the big trade-off of being a very open person like I am is that it can be hard for open people like me to commit to one identity. So I suppose that's the trade-off. You're going to be just, I suppose, endlessly dissatisfied with whatever pigeonhole that you put yourself in. Now, there's utility in that, but it kind of goes hand in hand with having a pretty defined sense of identity, and the downside of that should be kind of plain to see. But it's weird though, because when I think of what I identify as, or what I have identified as, like, Jesus, I could throw up a lot of stuff. You know, like, am I a fighter, a business owner, a podcast host, a poet, a fucking rapper, a tradesman, a hunter, an athlete, a record holder, an investor, a scientist, a singer, an activist? Like, Jesus, I could fucking go on and on and on with things that I have done and haven't done yet but intend to do. You know, throw comedian in there. I like to throw my hat at all these different things, and that's great. But amongst all that stuff, you can't help but feel a little bit lost. And I don't even think that I bear the brunt of that, because once I'm attacking something new, like I seem to be attacking this whole podcast thing, and once I'm doing something new and it's fresh and it's dangerous is the wrong word, but just, I don't know, it's a little unknown. There's a little unknown. There's a lot unknown. Like, I sit down, I hit record, and half an hour later, I've fucking said 10,000 words or whatever it is, and God knows what I fucking said half the time. So there's something quite daunting, but yet quite exciting about that, and that's all great. But I think the people who suffer, or the person that suffers the most from my kind of lack of having an identity, is my fucking fiance. She has to deal with, all right, so it's podcasting now, is it? Right. I mean, I told her I was writing a book there a couple of months ago, which I'm still writing, by the way. And she's so fed up to her back teeth of me and my tangentialness that she didn't even ask me what the book was about. And my nose was firmly out of fucking joint over that. It really was. I was like, I remember thinking to myself, like, fucking bitch, like, I mean, I tell her I'm writing a book and she doesn't even have the fucking common courtesy to ask me what it's about. But God fucking love the girl, because one minute I'm a fucking martial artist, the next minute I'm an entrepreneur, the next minute I'm a fucking podcast host, the next minute I'm fucking this, that, and the other, you know, a triathlete, a fucking marathon runner, an open water swimmer, a fucking, you know, oh, you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, there we are, okay, right, great, yeah, that's normal. And God love her, there's a lot going on there. She's a lot to put up with. But she's the best, and I love you to bits, babe. But anyway, I'm going to do a quick time check. I'm going to call this one a day at 18 and 26, because I probably said as many words in the last 18 and 26 as I did yesterday in the fucking 40 odd something. So this is going to be relatively short and sweet. Pull your fucking fingers out. Write me an email, imoffthelead@gmail.com. Write someone else an email. Send a mate of yours a fucking text. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks for listening, and I'll chat to you tomorrow.